Today on the Transplant Helper, I'm going to share with you one thing you need to be doing right now in order to be certain that you're going to receive the greatest quality care possible for the long haul so that you can live the best life.
Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community.
Well, hey, Transplant Helper community, my name is Jim Merle, and I'm so excited that you paused on this program today. As a matter of fact, if you find any benefit at all out of this program, how about hit the big like button that you see somewhere up underneath the video. Maybe even consider sharing this video with a friend, a family member, someone who may be affected by it, or even more than that, that is you. Go ahead and hit the big subscribe button, maybe the bell notification all beside that. That really helps me out. It really helps the YouTube, they call it the algorithm, to pick things up so that these videos can be seen by more and more people who need them. I know you'll be willing to help me out with that, so go ahead. Anyway, today's subject, I believe, is an extremely important one, especially if you're one of those people who are kind of just getting started with transplant, just getting started down this road. I think this will benefit you a lot, and that is, how in the world do you assure yourself that you're going to get the best quality care far and above everybody else? I do think as a whole, the majority of us, we get the best quality care possible above any other type of patient. It doesn't matter what the typical, illness is, what the condition is, what the situation is. I think us transplant patients should and typically do receive the highest quality care. However, there are a few cases, there are a few bad apples, and I see it over and over. I end up in communication with literally thousands of people every day, and I see a few cases where these people are getting terrible care out of their teams. They're not getting callbacks when they need them. They call the coordinators, they call the clinics, they're not calling back. They're not getting tests and procedures, they're not getting their medications refilled, they're not getting results from tests, they're not getting appointments that they need, and I think that it's absolutely awful. And if you're experiencing that right now, I think you need to watch this video, but then after that, you need to just stand up for yourself. Just tell your team, whoever they are right now, that you will not stand for that, that you deserve better, and that you want the best quality care you can possibly get. So that's enough of that rant. I can't help but rant when I get to that. So let's just slow down and smile. That's my smile, believe it or not. But let's slow down and smile for a minute, and let's talk about this in a good way. I think the real key, and there's really just one key overall to getting high quality care out of your transplant team, is how well you build a relationship. Okay, the real key to high quality care is relationship, and how well you're able to exchange with them and have a real life human being relationship. Let me give you this example, and we'll come back to something else. I'll make this quick. Let's just suppose for a moment they're sitting at the house, your phone rings, cell phone, home phone, whatever kind of phone it is, but your phone rings, you pick it up, and on the other end of the line you hear someone say, "Hey, I'm stranded out here on highway whatever, I've got a flat tire, can you help me?" And of course you hear that, and immediately you begin to think about someone being stranded. You begin to think about someone who's afraid and obviously needs help. And you ask them, say, "Well, I don't recognize your voice. Who is this?" Now, if the person on the other end of the line said, "Oh, I'm so-and-so, I don't think we've ever met, you don't know me, I just found your number, accidentally, and can you come out on the highway and help?" What are you going to do about that? You may be one of those extreme good citizens, but for the most part, you're probably going to say, "I'm not going to be able to help." But suppose that same phone call comes in, same idea, stranded on the highway, flat tire, needs help, and you recognize that voice, and you know that's one of your best friends or co-workers or family members or someone you care about. What would you do in that situation? You know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go. You're going to grab your keys, you're going to run out the door, you're going to go to that highway. You may not be able to actually change their tire, but you're going to be able to get down there, maybe just kind of spend some time with them, make sure they're safe, get them in your vehicle out of the heat. Right now it's 90 degrees outside most everywhere, in the South at least. You're going to protect them, you're going to assist them in some way. Why? Why did you treat the one person one way and the other person another? Because of the relationship you have with the second person. And that's the way it's going to work in your transplant center. When you have a relationship, when you have built a rapport, when you have built a camaraderie, when you've kind of become a little family, those people on the other end at your clinic, they're going to help you as a friend and not as a patient sometimes. They won't always be able to do everything for you just out of the buddy-buddy systems we call it, but for the most part, they're going to help you quicker. They're going to give you better quality care. They're going to be friendlier. They're going to everything's going to be better if you have that relationship built. So I encourage people to start building those relationships immediately. On the very first visit, and you may very well be far past this, but even on the very first visit, the first time you go in and sit down with your team, I encourage you to walk in that door immediately. Start small talk. You may not be that kind of person. Maybe they're not that kind of people. But you go in that room, you start small talking. How are you doing today? How's the weather? Whatever. Ask them anything. Just get a conversation started and then keep that conversation going. That's the key to this. Keep it going and just build a relationship. And then from that point, while you're still in the room that day, show them not only that you care about them and their personal lives to an extent if possible. Start asking real questions. Go in there and ask questions. And when they tell you something, no matter what it is, even if sometimes you do understand it, say, can you tell me about that a little bit more? You get them in a discussion right there where they're beginning to get the idea that this is someone that I'm familiar with, this is someone I'm going to get to know, because this is someone that's going to continue to ask questions, be concerned, show them in the end of that, if they do give you, some assignment to do, like go take this medication or go do this test, show them that you're more than willing to do that you're going to be compliant. Just build all of that. When you're out and about, and I don't have any bones to doing this, although sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, if you're out and about one day after that up at your clinic and you see that doctor, that nurse, that coordinator, whoever that staff member is, you see them out and about, say hello. If you're in an elevator, say hello, Dr. So-and-so. Just continue to build with them. You want these people to recognize your face, to recognize your voice, and to be willing to listen in every case. You want to feel like they are one of those, their friends, that you are one of their friends, and likewise the other. Now I understand there are a lot of doctors out there particularly who don't have what we call much of a bedside manner. They're not that friendly, outgoing. I get that. But still, you just keep pushing, you keep driving, you keep trying to crack that egg. I know one of my transplant doctors, for example, I won't call his name because he's changed a lot, but in the beginning, he was pretty cold and kind of kept himself off. He would come in and say, "Hello, Mr. Morrow, what's the problem?" And I'd tell him the problem, and he'd turn around and say, "Well, we'll get you fixed up," and he'd leave the room. But now, it's more of a friendly relationship. Now it's, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" And he fist bumping and elbow bumping and all that, and it's changed things a lot. So I always encourage people, build that relationship early and keep it going. And every time there's a staff turnover, and there are, I've been with UAB since Transplant 7 years, and there are a few people that have retired or moved on to bigger and better things, and they've been replaced. I make it a point when I walk in and I see a new staff member, even if it's the person behind the desk, taking the phone calls or registering the people to get into clinic, I make it a point to go up and tell them my name, say hello, be friendly with them. I ask them questions like, how long you been here, that sort of thing. People usually don't mind that. They'll tell me, and get a conversation started. Start building a relationship with those people. Now, in addition to that, that's kind of the clinic visit. That's kind of get to know them. That's a must do, have to thing. I saw someone the other night on Facebook. They were having some issues, just for example, with their blood sugar, and the question arose, should I call my team? Now, I think based on the blood sugar I saw, yeah, they should call their team. But even aside from that, if you ever feel strange, weird, something's not going on, one of your vitals, blood sugar, blood pressure, heart rate, anything's changing with you, depending on your transplant, you may watch a few different things. If anything changes at all, even if you're not so worried, I would encourage you early on to pick up the phone and call. Okay, and that's going to do several things. One, it's going to give you the confidence and the what would you call it? But anyway, I guess the confidence to know that you're going to be okay. But it's also going to build that factor again of relationship and trust. If they get the idea that when you are sick, when you're feeling weird, when you're feeling strange, or when you need anything, maybe it's just a medication refill, if they get the idea that you're going to be one to call, they're going to be on their toes for that. They're going to get used to that, okay? And then they're going to answer your call later when you might have something bigger or, scarier to deal with than what it may be right now. I know, and I'll just draw a picture of relationships that I have. Okay, let me just use this for example. I use names. I'm not, no bones against using names here. What I typically do, if I have a need, maybe it's a medication refill, we'll just say that to start with. I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to dial the UAB transplant, heart transplant clinic. I'm going to dial the number. As soon as I dial the number on the other end, a girl's going to answer. Her name is Shantae. Shantae will say, "Good morning, heart and lung transplant." And I'll say, "Hey girl, what you doing?" And she'll say, "Hey Jim." Notice she didn't even have to ask my name. She recognized me. Why? Because I call a lot. And I'll say, "Hey Shantae, it's Jim Merle." Then I'll tell her, I was just calling to ask if I could get my medication refilled, or maybe if I could get a hold to Connie. Connie's my coordinator. You know what she does when I ask that or say that? She says, "Hang on just a minute, let me get Connie." And she will either call Connie's office, call Connie's cell, or page Connie, any way about it. And then Connie will either jump on the phone right then, which is very typical, or she'll call me right back. Now, let me ask some of you, how different for you is that scenario? For too many of you, it's very different. I have people, and again, it makes me so mad, who call their transplant center, call their team, and they play phone tag for days and days waiting on someone to even answer or call back or whatever. I can speak with my coordinator, Connie, instantly, within minutes. If not, if she's totally unavailable, she'll call me back, usually within 5 or 10 minutes. Once I get Connie on the phone, I can ask for anything. I can tell Connie how I feel, what's going on. I can ask her for medication refills. I can ask her, in some cases, if I'm sick, I can ask her to call me in some medication or whatever. She always offers to bring me in clinic to see me the same day. If she's even offered before to put me in the hospital the same day. I mean, really and truly, build a relationship and keep it going. So when people ask me, should I call about this or that, I say call, because calling builds a relationship. Calling reminds that team that you care about your body, that you know your body, and that you're going to be asking questions. Then when you go back into clinic, eventually you'll always be back again another day, like Frosty the Snowman. He said he'd be back again another day. When you do go into clinic, same thing keeps going. Keep building that rapport. Keep building that relationship. Keep showing them that you are no dummy and that you understand some of these medical terms, and that you're going to ask questions and whatever they tell you. And I don't care what it is. I'll use a heart situation in my situation. If I go in, say tomorrow to clinic, and my doctor looks at me and says, "Mr. Merle, I think we need to do a heart cath on you," I'm going to say, "Why? Why would we do a heart cath?" And he'll say, "Well, your pressures look like this on the echo, and this has changed and that has changed." And I say, "Okay, so I'm getting this right. You feel like the best situation for me right now would be to have a heart cath?" He'll say, "Yes." And I say, "You feel like I need a heart cath because of this?" And he'll say, we'll go back and forth. And I'm just proving to him, not that I'm smarter than him. I'm not a medical doctor. They know way more than I do. They were trained and spent years getting to where they are. But I'm just reminding them that I know my game. So what does that have to do with? Relationship. Build a relationship where they know, trust, care, they're concerned about you, where they know you on a face-to-face, almost first-name basis. And by the way, I encourage the doctors. They always call me doctor. They don't call me doctor. They always call me Mr. Merle, but I always encourage them, call me Jim. And some of them will, not all of them. But I say, call me Jim. I want to build that relationship. Anyway, I know this has gone on too long to tell you, build a relationship. Build it any way you can. Call the team. Get it so that receptionist recognizes your voice. And from that point forward, you'll do great. You'll get high quality care. Don't let them run over you. Don't let them deny you what you deserve, which is only the best. I'm so glad you came and joined me today. And until next time, stay stronger, friend.